Well, hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might happen to be, anywhere around the world. It's great to see you here on IAG Live, covering maybe the Asia Pacific gaming industry, as we always do, from the Middle East to the international dateline and other parts of the world as well from time to time. And as always, we have our intrepid studio producer, Oscar Guiaro, all the way from Espanol. Oscar, come in.
Hola, hello, buenos días, buenas noches.
Hola. Buenos noches, very good. Bueno, that's about me. I'm done. Paella, that's
Paella.
How's Espanol, Oscar?
It's okay, España, very good, very good. The weather is treating us well after some wildfires we had this week, where the big news locally, the biggest wildfire ever in Spain history. So it has been quite terrifying, compensating our victory on the World Cup. Good news, bad news.
Now, last week when we spoke to you, you said there were still some celebrators still celebrating. Surely that's calmed down now. There's not kids in the street anymore jumping up and down and burning cars and climbing up flagpoles and things like that. Is that all over now?
It's all over, but it's the talk of the town. Everyone you meet, the grocery guy, the convenience store guy, we all talk about that.
That's great. Oh, well, that's very, very, very good for Spain, and we're delighted for you. Our Spanish representative of IAG. We're absolutely delighted. But we better get on with the news for the week. So let's bring in our also intrepid and pescatarian managing editor, Ben Blaschke. Come on in, Ben.
Hey, Andrew. How are you going? Yes, I'm back in the different background.
What's going on? Is this a new Ben? Is this a fishless Ben?
I replaced the fish with my dog Willow, who is actually sitting right next to me at my feet, but a few pictures of her in the background there.
We may have a canine contributor to this podcast or broadcast or whatever the hell this thing is.
Possibly. Just got to settle just in time.
All right, very good. I see you've got some vino there over what appears to be your right shoulder to us. I don't know if you're mirror imaged or not. Might be your left shoulder.
My left shoulder, yeah, a bit of wine there. And if you saw the front of the camera, there's a whole lot more wine there as well. So won't be going thirsty anytime soon.
Surely there are computers and notes and work on your desk there, like work to be done, not wine to be drunk.
I need something to drink while I'm working, Andrew. Keep me motivated.
Fair call. I'll buy that. That's fair enough. All right, thanks, Oscar. And you'll be in the background, of course, pushing all the buttons as always. So thanks, and we'll see you next week, Oscar. Take care.
See ya.
And Ben, last week we had our largest longest IAG Live ever. It was nearly 90 minutes. It was a huge amount of news last week. I'm sure there isn't that much this week, is there?
No, I've been a bit more selective this week, Andrew. It's been, I'd say it's been an interesting week of news. Probably not quite as jam-packed with news, but there's been, we always say there's never a dull moment. I mean, there's always news in this industry. There's always something happening somewhere. So, a few pretty interesting stories to get through this week. But I thought we may as well start with our highlights video, Andrew, from our Macau After Dark at Grand Lisboa Palace. What a great event that was.
People still talking about it, and particularly talking about the food. Everybody brings up the food. I mean, it's SJM properties, Grand Lisboa Palace, Grand Lisboa, Lisboa, and of course they also have Lark and Oceanus. I mean, just renowned for their excellent F&B. There's a few people arriving. There's Daisy Ho, the chairman, look, she gave a nice speech there. And Daisy doesn't normally come out to these things, so it was very, very nice of her to give that sort of credibility to our event. It was very nice of her to do that, and you can see everyone listening attentively. Yes, correct, to her speech. So no one was listening to me. I don't blame them. So it was very, very, very good. event. I enjoyed it thoroughly. We had a great turnout.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't there, Andrew. I was here in Sydney. I didn't get invited, unfortunately. Very sad. But, I've sort of enjoyed actually watching the highlights video. It sort of gave me a bit of a window into what the night was like. And, of course, there's Andy Lee, who has been a great supporter of IAG. And we thank Andy for his support in this event too. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like a wonderful event. And as you say, Andrew, I mean, looking at the chefs prepare the food there, some cocktails look amazing. Just spectacular.
I had some friends from Melbourne in town, and I invited them along just to, they're not industry people, and they were just blown away. They were just absolutely blown away. They're like, "Wow, look at this! This would cost a fortune." I said, "Well, we got a lot of support from SJM, which is absolutely fantastic." And Andy, yes, good friend of IAG. Andy previously at another integrated resort company, we'll just say it like that, and moved to SJM. Well, I don't want to guess how long ago, relatively recently, but it's been a while. And Andy taking the chief gaming officer job there, so he's got a real challenging and interesting job ahead. There's Derek Watt around, and there's Manesh and Manolo from Hong Kong. There's Joey Pather with our own Scott Messenger. There's Jeremy. I mean, there's so many familiar. There's Jadeson. Was he talking to Portia there? I think it might have been. We had entertainment on the night. It was just fantastic. So really, really nice event. There's Miguel. There's Tom Borman. There's Peter Johns, Graham Croft with Tiana in the background there. And who else is there? That was too quick for me. But a lot of names there, a lot of industry names, and it was a great event. And our next MAD, we actually haven't announced the venue of our next MAD, but our Christmas MAD, which we've actually brought it back one day. It will now be on the 3rd of December, not the 4th, because I have to get from there to the airport to fly to Las Vegas to go to the CDC holiday event on December the 8th. Then hop on a plane and fly back to Manila to make the Manila After Dark event on December the 10th. So it's going to be a pretty hectic week for me, and a great week for our company, our respective companies. IAG, there's Dr. Cunha, just some great. There's Gerard from the head of our SVP of non-gaming. I don't know his exact title for SJM. And look at that food, isn't it amazing? It really was probably the best food we've ever had in maybe any there's one other that I could think of that probably is close, if it may be equal first, but certainly I couldn't say that there was a MAD that had better food than that MAD 36 down at the Garden House at Grand Lisboa Palace. And you weren't there, Ben, so you didn't really get to appreciate the venue so much. The venue was really, really lovely venue, kind of an indoor-outdoor venue. They actually had some fireworks for us outside. SJM put on some cold fireworks outside, and great venue for like weddings. It would be particularly beautiful setting for weddings. And this with the green carpet, green walls, green everything. You see the green trim there, kind of matches with the garden outside. Very beautifully manicured garden outside. What a great venue. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, Ben, hit us with it. Yeah, this was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was a bit of analysis and research study by one of the Philippines law firms, Geronimo Law, really giving their take on what they think could happen when we talk about the decoupling. PAGCOR has been talking a lot about the decoupling of their cell phone Casino Filipino operation, basically selling that off and focusing on being a pure regulator. That's been Chairman Tenko's one of his key focuses since he took over the PAGCOR administration around about 4 years ago now. So that's picked up steam, that decoupling conversation recently. And so this paper came out talking a bit about a few of the things that might happen. And one of the focuses of this paper was what will happen with the Casino Filipino employees. PAGCOR has sort of mentioned before that they would hopefully be able to reallocate some of them within the organisation. Some would obviously possibly be acquired by the buyer of some of those properties, or some may take some sort of retirement plan or something along those lines. And the premise of this analysis was that, well, if there was like a mandatory acquisition of employees alongside the properties, would the price of the sale price of the property go down as a result of taking on that sort of burden, I suppose you would say. What are your thoughts, Andrew?
Look, I think it's been pretty clear. I don't think there was anything astounding in this paper. I think those three things were pretty clearly what was going to happen. And I do believe that Chairman Tengo may have certainly said that privately, and I'm sure he said that publicly. If he hasn't said that publicly, it's no surprise that he said it privately. I mean, it's been there have been meetings between the PAGCOR. I can't remember the exact name of the association, but there's a PAGCOR Employees Association, and there have been sort of town hall-like meetings where Chairman Tengo has spoken to them. Chairman Tengo is wildly popular within PAGCOR, a little bit like Wilfred Wong at SANS, sort of a wildly popular leader that the rank and file kind of love, and that really identify. He knows how to connect with the common man, and he's very, very good at that. And so he's been appeasing them, I guess. I'm not saying that in a negative way, just sort of calming the worries. Because the PAGCOR employs I believe it's 9,900 employees. They have just a smidge under 10,000 employees. Now, that's a hell of a lot of employees. And obviously, some of those are on the regulatory side. Some of those are on the operator side. And with the decoupling, with the departure of these 42 properties, it won't be 42 in the end. It's less than that. It'll be consolidated. Some may even be closed, some of the smaller, less performing ones. I think it'll be somewhere in the 30s. And probably realistically somewhere in the 20s for really good ones, but those better ones will sell for decent money. There's been a lot of worries from the employees. Well, what will happen to me now if you're 60 years old or 65 years old or even 57 years old? And you're thinking, well, I've had a good run. I wouldn't mind retirement. I'm sure there'll be a nice package. But if you're younger or not younger, but want to continue working, that option's got to be provided. So, and the PAGCOR will, that's one of the things that they're very, very concerned about with the decoupling. They don't want to be perceived as doing the wrong thing by their employees, because PAGCOR has always tried to do the right thing by their employees as much as they can. So, this is an interesting thing. It's a big topic in the industry in the Philippines. What will happen to these people? It was interesting. I think the most interesting thing in the paper was, if you take these employees, the value may go down. I'm not sure about that. At the very beginning, I think if I were a business owner taking over a business such as this, I'd probably want to keep them for a while, because you'd want to maintain stability and just, have things go business as usual, and then slowly make your changes over time. And that's exactly what we've done with the merger with CDC. We didn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so, we kept IAG and CDC pretty much the same, didn't mess with them at all, didn't mess with brand names, didn't mess with our customers or our audience or the services that we provided. Now, this is the second year of that merger, and we're starting to make a few changes for the better, but keeping all the stuff that's good. So I think that they would want to do the same. You'd think you'd want to, let's keep it stable, keep it running, and then slowly but surely go through, okay, what can we improve? And what can we make better? What is not so good that we can change? What is good that we have to keep? So I think, I don't know. And how can you force employers to keep employees on? They do it in Macau, but that's a different legal system and governmental system. In the Philippines, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can say to employers, you must employ this person forever or for 2 years or for 1 year. I'm not sure. So, yeah, it's an interesting point. And I'm sure it's something that we'll be discussing at the IAG Expo. I'm sure the subject of the decoupling is really going to come up. I think you've been putting the program together, taking primary responsibility for putting the program together. There's a session on that, isn't there, from Wilma Eismer, the COO and president of PAGCOR. Should we speak? Because I think she's taking the lead on that one, isn't she?
Well, that is our plan anyway, Andrew. That will be part of the regulators forum, of course.
Not yet confirmed, is it? Okay. I was part of the regulators forum. Okay. The invite only one day. I let the cat out of the bag there. Oops.
Yes.
But look, I'm even in the IAG summit, and particularly in the CIG Idea Summit on the Monday, the iGaming Day on the Monday. I think it'll be a subject of discussion, because PAGCOR plays such a crucial and vital role in the gaming industry in the Philippines. Kind of a bit different to how the DICJ in Macau or the SGA in Singapore, GRA, I should say, shouldn't I? GRA in Singapore So yeah, it's an interesting one. And times are a bit tough in the Philippines at the moment. So those employees are concerned about their jobs. Big issue. But anyway, it'll get resolved. I'm sure it'll get resolved along the way, as these things always are. So let's move on to the next one. Cambodia, again, in the news with these scam centers and trying to do something about it.
Yeah, look, I think we've made a decision at IAG that this is an important issue to follow as it plays out. It's a significant issue globally, not just in our industry, because it doesn't just involve our industry, but our industry, to an extent, is involved in the sense that there are 195 licensed casinos in Cambodia, which by itself, first of all, Andrew, is an absurd number of casinos that have licenses. I hope the regulator is looking at cutting that number down, maybe a little.
They absolutely are, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see the numbers there. I mean, first of all, 195 licensed casinos and 72 of them in a bit of a nationwide sweep over the past year found to have some sort of involvement, not necessarily full scam hub, but some sort of involvement in online scams. That's a pretty significant number. And I think that exposes the extent of the issue there in Cambodia and in other places as well. So I think that was sort of the main reason for this story. It was pretty interesting. There was a report submitted to the government this year about that fact. And look, to Cambodia's credit, I think they've realised this is a major issue and they are really cracking down and focusing on that. Oscar's highlighting some more numbers there, around 737 scam centres. So obviously a lot of them not casino related, but a massive number.
Yes. I mean, this whole illegal scam industry is not our industry, but it does like to attach itself to the casino industry and the gaming industry. Hence, we report on it because it does reflect on us. But I think the interesting thing, who was I talking to? Oh, yes, I can't say. But I was talking to somebody who knows about this very, very well. And I won't say any, I won't give any hints away as to factor, but as to who that person might be. But very knowledgeable in this area. And that person was saying that the government of Cambodia has now gone from denying, they've gone from, no, this doesn't happen, to, yeah, look, it does happen. We do know it happens, and we try and do something about it. And that's a huge step. That's probably the biggest step. Even if they've been totally unsuccessful, which they haven't, they've actually had some success. But even if they're totally unsuccessful at shutting this industry down, to at least acknowledge it is the first thing, right? And they're now acknowledging it, whereas before they would get defensive and they would deny it and say, no, we have rules in place to stop that happening, therefore it doesn't happen. Well, of course it happens. So, and Myanmar is the other country. And unfortunately, Cambodia and Myanmar are the two countries that have, and to some extent the Philippines, are the countries that have been tarnished with this problem. And the governments, well, Myanmar's a bit of a different case because of the issues there, but there's certainly the governments of the Philippines, very much so, and now Cambodia, are taking this seriously and going, this is not a good look for us on the international stage. We don't want to be known for this. So they're doing something about it. So all credit to Cambodia. It's a small country. It's an emerging country. They haven't got a lot of resources. They do have a lot of systemic structural issues. It was only a few decades ago that they were a war-torn, I'll say, country. But even their country boundaries were fluid at that stage. But now they're moving forward. There's a lot of development going on in Cambodia, and I think this is really good. For those that don't know about Cambodia, it's very much a hub and spokes model. So you've got Naga in Phnom Penh. So Naga's got exclusivity. Is it for 200 kilometers? It's either 100 or 200. I can't remember. I think it's 200, isn't it?
200.
It's 200, is it? 200 kilometers exclusivity around in a radius around the center of Phnom Penh where it is, and that exclusivity is until 2045. It was till 2035, but it was extended for 10 years to 2045. And I'm sure it'll get extended again. And the license itself runs to 2069, or 65. Anyway, so long that it doesn't matter. And that's I was going to say multi-billion. Well, I suppose 1 point something. It's probably 1 point something, maybe more than that. 1 point something billion. I guess that counts as multi-billion dollar integrated resort. Naga 1, Naga 2, and developing Naga 3 as well, which has been scaled back a bit. post-COVID. And so that's a real integrated resort. They're listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, actually. I believe they were the first integrated resort in Asia to be listed. Naga? I think so. I think they were before Genting, not sure. But anyway, they were certainly early. They've been listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. They were listed long before any Macau property was listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So, those guys, and obviously Dr. Chen was the leading light there, passed away a few years ago, and now it's Chen Yifeng. His son is the leader there, CEO there, and good luck to him. And then what they're trying to do there, and they built quite a property low tax regime, which is good, but I believe they're still one of the biggest taxpayers in Cambodia. So a crucial business to the government there. And then you've got all these other 194, I guess it is, casinos scattered mainly around the edges of Cambodia, on the border with Vietnam on the east side, and on the border with Thailand on the west side, with those countries, respective two countries, being feeder markets. Of course, no casinos in Thailand, and Vietnam, no locals gaming, except for what they've been doing recently. We won't get into that. It's too much of a tangent. But traditionally, there's been no locals gaming in Vietnam. There's a relaxation of that now. If you want to know more, go to asgam.com and search Vietnam. You'll soon find out. And a lot of these casinos were just awarded licenses locally, I think, and just there's history. There's sort of, I think in business we like to use the word legacy. There are legacy reasons why these properties exist, and they would never exist in today's regulatory environment in Cambodia, because they established the help me out, Ben. What's the acronym of the regulator there? I always get confused. This is General Commercial. I'm with the UAE. I always get confused with the UAE one. But
it's a little bit similar though.
It's similar. Something like that. The General Commercial Gaming Authority or something. I can't remember. But they've Ros Perun was the leader there for many, many years, and he's now stepped down. There's a new guy who we've invited to IAG Expo, actually. And they've got this new regulatory regime there, which is a proper, they have a proper act now. They have a proper regulator. It's not regulated just by the Ministry of Finance anymore. So, good luck to them. I think in years to come, Cambodia could get itself sorted out, much like the Philippines did. And the Philippines went through a lot of pain to get where they are today, and Cambodia will go through that pain as well to get their house in order. There's always vested interests in these things. There's always people who are running properties and making money that don't want regulatory reform, and sometimes they have to be dragged kicking and screaming into the 20th century, never mind the 21st. So anyway, well done to Cambodia. All right, what's next? Finally.
One of my favourite topics over the past many years, Andrew, has been Imperial.
How much content have you got from this over the years?
I was going through the other day and looking at some of the stories, and I mean, there's hundreds of stories I've written on this saga, because it has been a saga. It even says in the headline, saga. It has been a saga ongoing. I mean, we won't go into the whole history of the company. Founded on a Macau junket back in the day, and how that all came to be in Saipan of all places. I mean, that could go on for hours, that discussion. But just the what we've seen here is in 2020. With the building that you see there, Imperial Palace Saipan, under construction. COVID hit, casino closed, company started defaulting on payments. It had its license suspended in 2021, never got that license back. And then we've seen this battle between, originally between the government and IPI over payment of unpaid dues for many years. And then we saw the creditors come knocking, and this has been ongoing for years and years and years. Actually, the license or the property has been sold to another company last year, which ironically has links to IPI. So I don't think this saga is actually coming to an end. But in terms of, the company filed for bankruptcy a couple of years ago. The creditors just want this all resolved now and to move on. So that's where we're at now. A court will decide in early August whether that happens, and we can sort of move on to the next step of wherever this saga takes us, Andrew. But at the end of the day, it's provided plenty of column inches for IAG.
Certainly has, and I've learnt never to say it's going to be over, because it just seems to go on and on and on. It even led to the collapse of the regulator, didn't it? Because the property was paying the regulator to regulate it, and now, of course, it stopped paying that. I mean, the money's run out. Well, I think the people behind it have got plenty of money, but the money that's been put aside for this property has run out, and now you've got this half-built property sitting there like an eyesore. And wasn't Tim Shepherd involved in selling? Wasn't he auctioning off all the bottles of wine and the Rolls Royce? Was it Rolls Royces or car? You know, there were expensive cars there. I mean, there was all sorts of stuff that Tim auctioned off, wasn't there?
And then there was the crystal dragons in the lobby that cost a fair bomb to put in there, that were sold
$1 million
off,
or something.
Yeah,
it cost $1 million.
so
I mean, yeah, it's a real saga and a disaster, and it shows what happens if you try to build a $7 billion integrated resort on a tiny little speck of land in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That's never going to work. I mean, could have said that from the start. And remember, at the very beginning, they would do these huge numbers, and we'd see them. Surely they're delisted now, aren't they? They must be.
They've been suspended from listing. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so suspended is not delisted. They're actually still listed. They're just suspended from trading, right? They're just stuck there or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, they were on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for a while, and there was fun and games going on there. And their accounts had these enormous. Didn't they? They had more rolling. I think they had more rolling than all of Macau one quarter or something. And of course, that was all pretty much, you know. It was all on. Let's just say it was on. I hesitate to say the F word, AKE word, but you know, it was very much predicated on credit, so it was all sort of paper losses. So yeah, there you go. Oh, His Excellency Dr. Yeth Patel, Scott chips in to say, is the new. Yes, that's correct. I'd forgotten his name. Is the new head of the regulator in Cambodia, CGMC. Thank you for Scott, the Commercial Gambling Management Commission of Cambodia, the CGMC, they call it. That's right.
And I should point out that Dr. Patel and his team were in Australia just very recently. They went down and visited some of the regulators around here. They visited the VGCC in Victoria. I know they visited the GLI office in Sydney. I saw Richard Howarth posting about that. So they're obviously to improve their knowledge base.
Oh, they've improved out of sight over the years. Are they there yet? No. But are they way better than they were? Absolutely they are. They've done a lot of work. So, you know, good luck to the Cambodians. It'd be great to see them at IAG Expo in September. Yeah, anyway, enough for IPI. We've done enough on them. I mean, what's the actual story? The creditors call for structured. Well, of course they do. I mean, what else are they going to do? Yeah,
exactly.
And they're going to get like a cent in the dollar or 2 cents in the dollar for what Tim sold that crystal thing for, maybe. I mean, what a building. I mean, what's it worth? Who could you sell it to? What for on Saipan? Ooh.
And what state is the building? I mean, the building hasn't been finished, so it's been open to the elements. So there'll be questions around how much would you need to invest even just to finish the building to make it usable? Do you make it a hotel? As you say, it's in Saipan. So who are you going to fill it with? Where is that going to come from? All interesting questions.
It might even be worth less than just the land that it's on, because you've got the cost of deconstruction. It might. I mean, I don't know if it's worth finishing or it's worth knocking down, one or the other. I mean, I've actually never been there. They invited me a bunch of times, and I just couldn't get there. The diary was too full with all the travel that I do. And now I don't think there's much point in going. Maybe I'll go one day, just find a couple of days to get over there and just take a look and take some pictures on my iPhone for IAG that I can send you, Ben, that you can put in some stories. Hopefully you're not still writing stories about this damn place in 2 years' time. What a waste of time. Anyway, all right, let's move on. Next one. Regulatory. Oh, yes. This one. I remember this one. Hit us with it, Ben. I mean, this goes in the category. Well, of course.
Well, I mean, it was an interesting breakdown by S&P of categorising various jurisdictions at the moment, and really looking at the fact that what really drives credit risk is more so regulatory and political, the environments, rather than pure gaming demand. So what you're looking for is pretty stable regulatory environment to operate in. So in Macau, I think we've got that now in Macau, pretty steady operation, very steady. Singapore, of course, as well. So they were listed as sort of the two gold standard in this regard. Interestingly, and not a surprise at all, Andrew, that some of the ones that were considered to be significant risk at the moment include Australia, particularly at the moment. The regulatory environment there is, well, all over the shop. Philippines, because it's got a lot of headwinds at the moment facing the industry there. And then you've got some sort of sitting in the middle, like a Cambodia is sort of sitting in this interesting zone. So I just thought it was an interesting report looking at, what constitutes credit risk, and Macau and Singapore now considered to be the most stable in the region.
Isn't it interesting? 20 years ago, Macau was the Wild West, and it was opening up and liberalizing, and they were getting credibility by getting people from America and Australia and stuff like that. And now it's flipped. Now Macau's the sensible one. I mean, when Crown got Kieran Carruthers to go down to be CEO of Crown, I laughed my head off because I was nothing against Kieran. It was actually turned out to be an inspired choice. Not an obvious one, but an inspired one. It worked out really well for Crown. But I laughed my head off because they said, Australia's getting the guy from Macau to sort out its its sort of regulatory issues. I mean, how the tables have turned from 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Macau now seen as a really stable and good regulatory jurisdiction, which is great. Here's an interesting one. Saipan used to be from Susanna. And we know Susanna. Holiday. Yes, absolutely. Very small. Most of the resorts are very run down. In 2004, when you were there, well, it hasn't changed much, apart from the fact it's now got a great big half-finished casino on it. Isn't that where the atomic bomb was launched from in Japan? I think it was Tinian, wasn't it? Which is one of the other islands of the CNMI, Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands, which is Tinian, Saipan, and Rota, the three islands. Anyway, so Macau and Singapore are stable jurisdictions with low credit risk. Well, I could have told you that, but I'm sure they went into more detail. So let's go into the next one, Oscar. Look at that building. I love that building.
Yeah, wow. CBRE taking a bit of a closer look at the situation of Wynn Al Marjan Island. I just thought the words there, John Decree and Max Marsh, with the analysts here, saying a 2027 opening still feasible. So, I mean, I think that it will feasible. I think it's a wait and see, because the situation in the Middle East is very fluid at the moment. And as you've mentioned a few times, Andrew, Ras Al Khaimah is very, very near to where all the action is happening. Even though
it's across the Strait of Hormuz. Exactly. We've all learned what the Strait of Hormuz is.
So still feasible. One of the things this report pointed out too, though, was that the Ras Al Khaimah set an all-time record for visitation during the second quarter. I think May was the highest month ever. And a lot of that was actually domestic demand as well. But sort of just shows that this region, Andrew, and all the development that's happening, not just Wynn Al Marjan Island, but all around that whole area, is really taking shape.
They've really got their act together, Ras Al Khaimah. They've got their execution might not be there yet. There's a hell of a lot of development yet to go. It's quite undeveloped, though. I've been there a few times. Quite undeveloped at the moment, but they know what they want. They have a very clear vision of what they want. And I spoke at an event there put on by Aristocrat, actually. I guess it was a year and a half. It was about 2 years ago now. And there was a guy there, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten his name. If he ever watches this, I do apologize. But he was a very good speaker, and he was from Marjan, the organization. So Marjan is the area, and also there's a company called Marjan, which is a kind of a government company. I guess I shouldn't say because I don't really know, but kind of like a SOE, like a state-owned enterprise or state-owned sort of private company, but it's got different arms to it, and they're really pushing tourism, like tourism. They want to be. If for Australians, they want to be the Gold Coast of the UAE. They want to be the place that is away, a little bit away, a smaller place, away from Dubai, away from Abu Dhabi, where you go for a holiday and you really enjoy yourself. And it is beautiful up there. Have a lot of construction going on at the moment, but once, like the Gold Coast had in the 80s, but once it's all done, oh my God, it's going to be so nice. And didn't we have a story? I don't know if you picked it in the future. Didn't we have a story this week about Marjan has broken ground on their luxury hotel that's going to go next to Wynn's? Did we have that this week? I think we did, didn't we?
We did, yes. I mean, that's linked to the Wynn Group, but yeah, hotel by linked to the Marjan Group, and I think it's called Aman is the other company that will actually be managing that hotel. But yeah, I'm sure that will be feeding, so that will be housing some customers too.
So this Wynn Al Marjan, it's not in isolation. There's an island there. Well, Al Marjan Island, it's called, right? And at the moment, the island you drive onto the island. You drive. There's a little bit of land. It's actually a peninsula, I think, or maybe there's a little bridge. But there's going to be another road on the other side to make it easier to drive, and you've got to sort of go around a little bit at the moment. Not 5 minutes only. And you sort of drive on, and there's a big crescent, and there's all these hotels and tourism businesses being built there, and you can just see, it's really obvious. If you've got a bit of vision, you can see what it's going to become, and it's going to become like, I don't know, like equivalents might be, of course, not exactly the same, but the Gold Coast in Australia, Florida, southern Florida, maybe, that Miami sort of area. It's going to become this sort of getaway, fun tourism destination. And the anchor is obviously Wynn Al Marjan. That's going to be the anchor. And this beautiful building that they're building at Wynn, which I cross fingers, I'm planning to go to in January and have for my third trip there. Third or fourth? Can't remember, maybe fourth. And it's going to be the anchor to it all, but all these other businesses are sort of coming off it. So it's going to be the getaway. And it's not as far as what everybody thinks from Dubai and Abu Dhabi. People think, oh, you got to drive up there. It takes forever. You could probably drive from Dubai airport to to Wynn Al Marjan quicker than you can drive from Dubai airport to Atlantis if the traffic's bad, because the traffic's quite bad in Dubai. So, and the airport's sort of on the outskirts a little bit. And the road up there, there's three. There's a coastal, an inland, and a central road. And they're all, I think it's 3 lanes each way, all the way, floor it. Just get up there, drive up there. I mean, they're not mucking around going at 100 Ks an hour. They're going at 120, 130, flying up that highway in their supercars and getting up there. So you can be up there in under an hour, and that's not long. So, yeah, interesting. It's still feasible. I think it's very feasible. I mean, they're constructing again, apparently. It all depends on the war, of course. It all depends on whether that flares up or not and people get scared. But remember, the war is not in UAE. The war is in Iran. Of course, UAE is close, but it is over water and it is a separate place. And look, if missiles start flying and stuff like that, well, of course, everything's going to stop and everybody's going to retreat. But with the current geopolitical situation, I don't want to say it changes daily. It changes hourly, I think. Trump gets on Truth Social and puts a tweet out, or whatever they're called on the Truths. I think they're called on Truth Social, and changes policy at whim. So we don't really know how it's going to play out. But it would be pretty obvious to me. I'm not sharing any. I don't know anything I shouldn't know, but it's pretty obvious to me that around September, October would be a natural time to open, because they were going for March or April, I believe. And then that was if everything went right. Well, of course, everything was going right for a long time, but now it's not. So it's going to be later, and you're not going to open in July or August in UAE, just too hot. So, and you don't want to open it in December, Christmas time, right? So no, you open in September, October, maybe early November. I think October is probably the sweet spot for me. If I was to guess, somebody held a gun to my head and said pick, I would say October. But look, and if it ends up being 2028, it ends up being 2028. What can you do? They will open it as quickly as they possibly can. They're not going to delay it. So, if they can open it in 2027, they will. And if they can't, they'll open in 2028. I'm sure their share price, Wynn Resort share price, is undervalued. I'm sure it's not, the value of this property and what it will do is not being factored into that share price. I think it's going to go gangbusters. So now I'm of that view. There are other people who are of a different view. Let's see what happens when it opens.
Yeah, fair call, Andrew. Actually, I think that there are a lot of people that have that similar view that the share price is going to jump significantly once this property gets going.
Sure will. I'm sure it will. All right, Oscar, what's next? MGM results.
MGM results came out this week, Andrew. The big takeaway is revenues fairly stable now. The MGM China seems to be coming in at around about the 1.1 billion each quarter, give or take a little bit. The takeaway really was on the margins impacted by the branding fee. Of course, the news was that MGM Resorts doubled, I think, the branding fee fairly recently that they charged to MGM China for use of the MGM name, which cut it into margin significantly. So that is hurting the profitability of MGM China overall. Andrew, I know you've got a bit to say on that and have before.
Stop doing it, you parent. It's not just MGM; it's all of them. And with all these shareholders who've got shares in the Hong Kong company, like us, right?
Yeah.
We're getting hurt. So it's just a way of shifting profits out to the parent company, isn't it? I mean, I might get into trouble for saying that. I'll probably get a whole heap of people say, no, there were our legitimate reasons and it was undervalued. I'm sure they've got their logic to it. But as a shareholder in the subsidiary company, in the Hong Kong listed company, no, I don't love it. But I guess it is what it is. What can you do? They control both sides of the transaction, don't they? So, well, I shouldn't say that. I should not say that. But it just seems to be a way of getting money out. By I'll probably get phone calls after saying this, but if people want to disabuse me and I'm wrong about that and there's a good logic, please call me up or email me and tell me, and we'll talk about it next week. Right, we'll talk about it on IAG Live next week. I'm very, very happy to share, the views on this, but I haven't. And we're close to the matter, and I don't really understand why they've gone up. So they haven't done a great publicity campaign on why these fees have gone up, because I don't know. So yeah, there you go. But anyway, I don't want to make a big deal out of that. They're doing great. I mean, I've always got my trusty little calculator here for we're going through numbers. 1.1 billion. I mean, the first thing I do is multiply that by 4, get 4.4 billion, and then what's our GGR running at? Like 32 million, something like that. For the year, total Macau GGR, so 4.4 comes out at 14%. Not bad considering MGM was down in the single digits back in the day. And when I say single digits, I'm not talking 9 either, lower than that. So haven't they done a great job, MGM, in increasing their share?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things when we look at these numbers and we talk about the branding fee impact is that MGM said that their market share this quarter was 16.4%, their GGR market share, which is pretty impressive. But their operating margin was around the 27% mark. But once the branding fee came in, the margin came down to about 23.3% off the top of my head. So certainly an impact there. But in terms of their market share, doing really well.
There's 6 of them, and may not have escaped the attention of the genius mathematicians watching this show that a sixth is 16%. Well, 16.2%, I know. So they've got 1/6, and they're one of 6. But remember, they're a lot smaller than Sands and Galaxy, which are triple the size of the other 4. So that is a really good effort by MGM. That is very, very impressive. I mean, look at their share of hotel rooms. Quite low, right? What have they got? Should know. Haven't they got about 500 odd in Macau? And I think on the Cotai side, is 1,400 ring a bell? I've probably gone down because they've upgraded them to suites and things like that. So, I mean, again, somebody will disabuse me of my wrong numbers, but I know I'm in the ballpark. So if it's, I don't know, just say 1,700 out of what would the hotel share of? I mean, I guess we've got I guess the casinos have got 2/3 of the 45,000, so that's 30,000. I mean, these are real rough numbers back of the envelope without looking things up, but that comes out at 6%. So I might be wrong. It might be out by 1% or 2. It might be 5% or 7% or whatever. But if their share of Macau's integrated resort hotel rooms is 6%, but yet their share of GGR is 16%. Wow, what a great! You've really got to compliment them on a great performance. Yeah, Kenny Fung's done a good job over there, hasn't he? Tian too. Tian's done a really good job there.
Yeah, and I believe we've got another story coming up on MGM, which is a bit of a follow-up as a result of that. So
you usually have a Kenny comment story. He usually makes an interesting comment on the earnings call, right? You usually sort of pull a story out of that. What's next,
exactly.
Oscar? Is it?
Well, there you go.
There it is. Okay.
So Kenny spoke quite at length on the earnings call about the fact that the way MGM China looks, obviously this whole thing about player reinvestment, and it's all sort of the talk of the town. It has been in Macau for a couple of years now. So MGM was asked a bit about, what's the promotional environment like in Macau at the moment? Pretty standard question on these calls. And Kenny sort of spoke about the fact that MGM's philosophy is that reinvestment is a package. So, all of the stuff that a customer finds when they come to the resort, from the suite to the customer service to the food to the get play to everything, is all a package deal. And he said that's all aimed at optimizing the casino yield. So it's not about let's fix this element, let's fix this element. It's all about, and Kenny, you and I know Kenny well, Andrew. He often speaks about what the customer experience and just understanding what the customer's evolving needs are in Macau. So that's what he sort of tried to explain how MGM views player reinvestment as this package deal that will optimize the experience and optimize the yield that MGM gets from their customers. Very interesting.
Well, any good industry media company should be spending time talking to these leaders of these of the people of the companies that they're covering, and we do that. Actually, Scott and I caught up with Kenny for breakfast a few weeks ago, and I do that probably 3 times a year. Catch up with Kenny for breakfast, usually at Coast there. It's at MGM Cotai. It's usually 8 a.m. on a Friday. Bit of a standing reservation we have, and he's very, very passionate and about his business, and that's great to see in any industry leader. He's very, very passionate, and he says in private exactly what he says in public, which is also a good sign. Which is that it's all a package, it's all one customer journey. I mean, I think the Mike standing joke is that the hint is in the name integrated resort. It's all integrated, and it really is. People come to an integrated resort, they come and stay at MGM Cotai, for example, for that whole experience. They're not just interested in this bit or this bit or this bit. They're interested in the whole journey from the moment they leave home to the moment they get back to home again. It's all part of the customer journey. And Scott Messenger, our chief of staff, probably spent a lot of time working on stuff like that as a marketing expert and integrated resort, the whole journey and the whole experience all the way through. So when we talk about this non-gaming stuff, sometimes gaming guys say, it doesn't contribute any money, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's an integral part of the whole offering. Very, very important. So I couldn't agree more with Kenny there. He's on the money. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? Look at the numbers that they're doing with relatively little resources, right? Compared to, still a magnificent big property, don't get me wrong, but compared to a Galaxy or a Sands, they've got far fewer resources than Galaxy and Sands have. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's see if we can finish under the hour, Ben. Here's our friend, Chairman Tenko. Not so good news. Happy face, but not happy news.
Yeah, PAGCOR released their Q2 financial results. Of course, this is PAGCOR's results, not industry GGR or anything. That will come out very soon. But, PAGCOR, of course, takes its revenues and income from the industry, and it was down around about 26% in the second quarter. Probably no surprise, because that decline was primarily through the online gaming segment, which declined quite substantially. And we've spoken about that at length, Andrew, about some of the headwinds there. And the two big headwinds at the moment for the online industry in the Philippines are the delinking of wallets, which impacted them from about halfway through last year. And even at the moment that we spoke about the Middle East war, Andrew, well, that's a big issue in the Philippines at the moment. It's certainly hurting families in the Philippines. Their day-to-day spend is impacted. Fuel prices are very high. And so that tends to be played out in less, entertainment spend, I guess. So that's what we're seeing in the Philippines, certainly in the online sector. The decline in the land-based gaming, I think, was about 3% year on year. So that seems to be sort of flattening out a little bit now. But the online is feeling it. Fair enough, though, Andrew, from pretty explosive growth just before that delinking issue happened last year.
Yeah, again, this is all about sustainability, isn't it? And I think the delinking For those that don't understand what we're talking about, Gcash and what's the other one called, Ben? There's two big ones in the Philippines.
Yeah, Gcash and
the other one. The other one. Are kind of like electronic wallets that people just have on their phone in the Philippines and use, all day, every day, a bit like MPay in Macau for people who live in Macau, or Apple Pay or WeChat Pay or Alipay or any of those sort of things. And there were links directly from them to the online gaming, and they've been taken off as part of the efforts to just sort of calm the industry down in terms of its social impact and in terms of its visibility, I think, to kids especially. We don't want that. And that has hurt the numbers. There is an argument to bring it back in some kind of controlled way, because counterintuitively that could be a safety measure, because if you link an official payment platform like Gcash, what you're saying is, this online gaming operator they're legitimate, they're licensed, they pay tax, they have harm minimization in place, they report to PAGCOR and so forth. When you don't link, people don't know which are the legitimate ones. It's like the same argument for advertising, right? If you have advertising, well, obviously television stations or internet broadcasters are only going to take should only take legal, licensed, regulated businesses as advertisers, not illegal operators. So it does give some visibility to the consumer on which ones are legal and which ones are not. That was the argument, very sensible argument espoused by the guy from New Zealand, Ken James, right? Is it Ken James?
Paul James.
Paul James, sorry. Too many names in it floating around in my head. Paul James from New Zealand, when they're legalizing it there, and he understood that, which was good. So maybe there's some way that it comes back. There has been some talk about that, but you'd have to have protections in place to make sure that it wasn't shoved into the face of kids and there wasn't predatory behavior going on. But that's doable in this day and age. Technology is a wonderful thing. So, yeah. And PAGCOR, of course, also makes money from its existing properties as well. It hasn't decoupled yet, so it still has a status as an operator as well as a regulator. But we won't get into that whole can of worms. All right, let's move on. What's next, Oscar? Some birds tweeting there. Sounds like you're in a very nature-filled environment, Ben.
Well, I've got literally outside to my right, I've got a lovely tree there with the birds sitting there each day and twerp away. And
surely it's a gum tree.
Tweet away. No, it's I don't even know what sort of tree it is, Andrew. It's very pretty though. It's a bit bare at the moment, middle of winter.
Not a horticulturalist? Is it horticulturalist? I think it's horticulturalist.
I'm not a horticulturalist.
Definitely a tree. Somebody will probably send us a message saying it's not horticulture, it's something. You got the name wrong. All right, a nice big security picture there. Hit us with it, Ben. What happened?
Yeah, good story from Piers Chan this week. In fact, overnight. So a bit of a situation in Macau where some security guards at a Macau casino in Koto, unnamed casino, were found to be, rather than turning people over to the authorities, were found to be doing the wrong thing. They were basically extorting them and saying, pay us this much, we won't turn you over, we'll let you go. So it looks like there was a little group of security guards with some other people on the outside helping them, had a little scheme going for a little while that netted them, I think it was around about 1.4 million Hong Kong before authorities got wind of it, Andrew. Like, there's never a absence of interesting schemes in our industry worldwide, are there?
Yep, you name it, they do it. Yeah. But, it's good that this comes out. This shows that it does get caught. People say they look at something like this and go, look, see, what a dirty industry. No, there's an industry that's actually finding out these things and bringing them forth. And here we are, an industry publication, we're reporting on it. So that's good. And good get there by Piers Chan. Piers, a great guy working in our office, works full-time for us, just basically getting stories in Macau, very Chinesey stories in Macau. Piers is he's a great little reporter, and he gets in there and finds out what's going on. So that was a good one by him. I think there's nothing more to say about this other than the fact that they caught them. So that's good. Good to see. All right, next. What's next, Oscar? Oh, that's it. We're done. Did we make it under the hour? Yeah. Oh, look, we've got 5 minutes to spare. Just enough time. Oh, new comments. Here we go. Some comment. Oh, here we go. Our good friend the pirate is kicked in with saying Blackstone is considering using a continuous shuffler machine without the need for a cutting card and baccarat. That's interesting. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. So don't lose the time for shuffling or even changing the cards. That is an interesting development. That really would be an infinite, what they call an infinite shoe. Star City Sovereign Room birthday on 8th of August, the 8th of the 8th, of course. The Austrac fine, yes, of course. Due soon. Well, maybe the pirate knows more than we know because we've been waiting for that fine for a long time, haven't we? Yes, so that's an interesting one. And then Mahogany Room Melbourne, staff restructure well underway with redundancy starting yesterday. The future focus will be on the top 200 patrons, almost back as it was in the 90s. So I remember those days in the 90s. Their focus very much was on the top ones. And then we've got their Ben should go there to get first-hand info. Great bars. I wonder what country that was Susanna was talking about.
I believe Saipan, and I agree with Susanna's sentiment. I should go there, Andrew, to visit the great bars.
Are there great bars there? I don't know. I haven't been there. Maybe we should go together.
I can report back.
We can report back on the bars and then go for a second trip. Hang on, put the messages back up. There's still some more. Oscar, there we go. Strict Islamic law, Sharia, that forbids gambling. Yes, that is true, but somehow they've got around it. So, we always thought there would never be casino gaming in the Middle East, but UAE definitely the most permissive of the Middle East states. I think Bahrain would be probably the second most permissive. So, they've got around it somehow up there in Marjan. But Sharjah is one of there's 7 Emirates in the United Arab Emirates. There's Abu Dhabi. Oh, let's get this right. Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ras Al Khaimah, and the other three. The other three over on the on the east side. And those other three are relatively small. But Sharjah is probably the most religious of the most sort of sticking to Islamic religion. And so it's widely sort of espoused that Sharjah will not use their 2 licenses, their one online gaming license and their one land-based license, if indeed that is the rule. We don't know for sure, but we've heard that over and over and over again. Yes, so there we go. Some interesting comments. Please keep your comments rolling in on the IAG Live. We love to have them. And obviously, you can only make the comments. Well, certainly you can only make the live comments when we're on live. Most people actually watch IAG Live after the fact. They might watch it on the weekend. But you can still make comments on YouTube underneath the video if you want. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel because we haven't got many subscribers. We didn't push it for many, many years. Great bars in Dubai. There we go. Absolutely great bars in Dubai. I can attest to that. I've been to many of them. So, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we've only got about 1,600 subscribers, whereas on LinkedIn, we've got 36,000. So, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're starting to use that a little bit more. Historically, we haven't used that much in IAG, hence the low number. But we're doing this IAG Live with some regularity. And there will be changes coming to IAG Live. We've got plans for IAG Live to expand it. So that'll be good. What's up for you on the weekend, Ben?
Well, we've got Macau GGR results coming out tomorrow, Andrew. So we'll be getting them out.
A little bit of work tomorrow. Yep. As we always do, we're always first with that news. Minutes after it comes out, sometimes single-digit minutes after it comes out. So you can get it if you want to get it from IAG. We're always first on that, and getting that number out on the first of the month. And it is always the first of the month, irrespective of whether that falls on a weekend or not. And it's even New Year's Day. Nice, fun thing for you to do on New Year's Day after the night before, Ben. Every January 1. It's not a little unfortunate, but has to be done. Yes, you got that. I'm getting ready to hit the road again. I've been in Macau quite a long time for me. Quite a good long trip, over a month in Macau, staying at my place, and I will be off on Tuesday to Manila. So if there's anybody in Manila wants to catch up, I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think I leave Saturday night. I've got an overnight flight from Manila down to Sydney, where you are, Ben. And so I'll be seeing you next week for AGE week, which is always fun.
Yeah, I'm actually going to Papua New Guinea next Friday, Andrew, for 3 days, and then I'll be back on the Monday, and then, as you say, AGE on the Tuesday. So
I hope you'll be back.
I hope I'll be back as well. Yes.
Papua New Guinea, make sure you stay in the compounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So they've had casinos over the years, Papua New Guinea, but it's been problematic. So I'll be seeing you. I'll be down on Sunday, staying at Crown Sydney, as I usually do when I stay in Sydney. Great guys. They're meeting the new CEO, Crown Sydney, Ken Jansen, who you've already met, Ben. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Very, very nice guy. I had a very nice lunch. A small crew of about 6 or 7 of us had lunch there at Crown Sydney a couple of weeks ago. Got to meet Ken, had a nice long chat about, the meeting was as much as us meeting him as him getting to know Sydney and how people think of Crown Sydney and just discuss, opportunities to get to know each other a bit. So that was great. And lovely restaurant there at Crown Sydney, Amare, that we had our lunch at. Italian restaurant. I know you've eaten there, Andrew. Beautiful place there. And so I'm sure after AG, we'll have a drink at Crown one night at least, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, we will. Probably up on that deck there on the whatever floor it is, or maybe even that.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. And then there's also that kind of like secret bar, kind of speakeasy kind of bar up there as well. I've forgotten the name of it, but it's very nice. And Jason Yates from Crown has shown me through there a few times, and I've had a drink or two in there. And Ken from Caesars, I think he was from Caesars, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's worked in Vegas, Atlantic City. He's been all around the traps now. So now he's in Sydney. He's really enjoying his time here. I know that much, and I believe his family's joining him out here very soon. So
that's great.
He seems to have settled in very well. He's gotten to know the city well, and he's got some ideas around Crowns. So looking forward to seeing how that all plays out.
Previous CEO, of course, Stanford Lee, back now at Snoqualmie in Seattle or near Seattle. And he's actually reached out to me and said, come up any time. So one time I'm in the US, I will definitely go up there when I can find the time and say hi to Stanford there. And good luck. I'm looking forward to meeting Ken next week. The week after, I should say. The week after. Next week's in Manila. And then meeting Ken the week after AG. And then I'll be spending a few weeks in Australia, going down to Melbourne and a few other cities in Australia, and also visiting Brisbane and the Gold Coast, visiting Star Brisbane, Star Gold Coast. I'll be catching up with Bruce Matheson and maybe even Sue Kim. I think he might be in the country. And the property CEOs as well. So of Queensland, same CEO, Amit Patel for Brisbane and the Gold Coast, and Sydney property CEO as well. So that'll be a good little trip to Australia. Meet quite a few industry leaders, the new star, the new sort of Bali regime star, and also a more settled and stable Crown too, right? Crown starting to, more green shoots for Crown, perhaps even a little bit more than green shoots now. A bit more stable, big success with the Aussie Millions, the $200 million investment from Blackstone in Crown Melbourne, Crown Sydney. You were saying to me the other day that it seems to be a lot more stable and have a lot more business than it had before. I think these regulatory rules that they brought in, the New South Wales and the Victorian regulator, probably they've had time to get used to them, settle down, work out how they can run their business within those rules. So, yeah, maybe Australia turning the corner. I think Australia definitely has turned the corner on the way back. Would you agree with that, Ben?
Certainly, I think that what we've seen with the Crown example is that there is still room to run a profitable business and a successful business. Obviously, Star's problem at the moment is still in the middle of all this regulatory situation. So once that gets resolved, once this AUSTRAC fine that we spoke about is settled, once they get their license back and they can actually focus on running the property again, as opposed to simply appeasing the regulator. Of course, they want to appease the regulator all the time, but they can focus on running a property again. I think you'll see those results start to turn as well.
Yeah. It's all sort of starting to settle down there. So, a little bit of time to go, a little bit of water to go under the bridge yet, but it'll be good to see things settle down. All right. Well, I think that's it from us this week, and some trouble coming up for me, and be another week for interesting stories in the Asian gaming industry. If you haven't subscribed to Breakfast Briefing, of course, please do so. Just go to the website asgam.com and click on the red subscribe free link in the menu. IAG Expo, we've got a big announcement coming out later today about the IAG Expo. So get ready for that. That'll be an EDM being sent out to everybody. You'll get that in your inboxes as an email. And if you're watching this after Friday, we already made that announcement on Friday. Now look out for that. Please go to iagexpo.com to learn everything about the IAG Expo, September 14th to 17th. It's really starting to hot up. You've got the programs coming together, Ben? They
are coming together, Andrew. There's a lot of summits this year. We've got 3 separate summits really as part of that week. So, but they're coming together. They're starting to take some good shape. Yeah,
it's going to be great awards as well. I've seen all the nominations coming in for the awards. Oh, there's Willow. She's woken up. I've seen all the nominations coming in for the awards. The public call for candidates ends on Wednesday. Yes, on Wednesday, the 5th of August. So if you want to nominate your own company or yourself for any of those awards, please go to iagexpo.com and just navigate to awards nominations, and you can fill out the web form there on the website. That they close on Wednesday night, and then we'll be sitting down and shortlisting the official nominations from the public call for candidates, and then we'll announce those in accordance with the awards process, which is also explained in detail on the website. And the gala dinner, where all the awards will be announced, will be on Tuesday, the 15th of September, as part of the IAG Expo at Newport World Resorts, Manila. It's going to be a great night, black tie gala dinner. It's always a great night there. If you still room, if you need tickets or you want to get a table there, please do, because it's going to be an absolutely fantastic night. We've got some big names there on the head table taking shape at the moment. I think it's more than half full. Of course, it'll be full by the time we get there. 20 names, and I see some of the names on there. Chairman. I'm sure the chairman of PAGCOR will be there. Many, C-level industry executives. Big names on that table. All right, well that's it, and there you go. Willow's made an appearance. She knows when to get in shot, just at the last moment.
She's gotten very active. She's chasing a ball around the house now, so you can see.
Very good. All right, we can go and give her a bit of attention now. And we did crack the hour up to 1 hour and 7 minutes because we rabbited on at the end. So that was me. Sorry, guys. All right, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. I'll be in Manila and you'll be in Sydney next Friday, 10 a.m. Enjoy yourself. It's say bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben.
Say bye, Willow.
Bye too. She's thinking about it. There you go.
There she just said bye. And it's bye from me. See you next week. Bye for now.